dark streets of Chicago, a sinister legend began to spread in 1991, one that would haunt the city for years to come. It was a tale of a killer clown, an unsettling figure who lurked in the shadows, preying on the innocent. His name was Homie the Clown, but there was nothing funny about him. The story began quietly, like a whisper carried on the wind. At first, people only spoke of him in hushed tones. Rumors of a man dressed as a clown who stalked the streets late at night. But as time went on, the whispers grew louder, and the terror of Homie the Clown took shape in the minds of Chicago's residents. Unlike the harmless, silly clowns seen at children's parties, Homie was a twisted figure, his face painted in grotesque, garish colors. His smile was wide, unnaturally so, revealing sharp, jagged teeth beneath the paint. His eyes gleamed with malice, empty and cold. He would appear without warning, often at the most unexpected moments, on street corners, in alleyways, or peeking out from behind darkened windows. Those unfortunate enough to encounter him described a chilling sense of dread that seemed to hang in the air, thick and suffocating, just before he attacked. His methods were gruesome. He would lure his victims with false promises of a joke or a laugh, but those who approached him never returned. Some say he carried a knife. Others whispered about darker tools, hidden beneath his colorful costume. But it wasn't just the violence that made Homie the Clown so terrifying. It was the way he moved. Silent, swift, like a predator waiting to strike. His presence was more than just a man in a costume. It was an embodiment of nightmare, a monster hidden behind a mask of whimsy. People spoke of the eerie, blood-curdling laughter that would echo long after he had vanished, the sound lingering in their minds, a constant reminder of the terror he left behind. As the rumors spread, fear began to grip the city. Parents warned their children to stay indoors after dark, and the streets, once lively with activity, became eerily quiet at night. No one knew where Homie the Clown came from, or what drove him to commit such horrors, but one thing was certain. He thrived on fear, and the more people feared him, the stronger his power became. And then just as quickly as he had appeared, Homie the Clown vanished. Some say he was captured. Others believe he simply disappeared into the shadows, his legend continuing to haunt the city. But for those who lived through it, the terror of Homie the Clown never truly ended. His story became one of the most chilling urban legends in Chicago, a nightmare that would forever remind the people that sometimes, behind the painted smile of a clown, lies something far more terrifying.
They say it happened on a calm, clear afternoon, an unsuspecting scuba diver plunging into the depths of a peaceful lake, unaware of the nightmare lurking above. As he drifted beneath the surface, an aerial water bomber, a monstrous helicopter carrying a massive bucket, descended over the lake, ready to scoop up gallons of water for the raging wildfire miles away. The diver never saw it coming. In a single moment, his tranquil underwater world turned into a chaotic torrent. The water bomber's bucket plunged down, capturing not only the lake's water, but also the diver, pulling him skyward with a force so brutal he was stripped of breath and bearings. He was yanked into the open air, disoriented, tangled within a swirling mass of water that blinded and suffocated. Some say his screams were drowned out by the chopper's roar. Carried for miles, helpless, he was finally dumped, along with the payload, over the inferno. Firefighters on the ground watched in horror as not just water, but a twisted figure fell from the sky, crashing onto the burning earth. A scuba diver in full gear, limbs contorted in a final futile attempt at escape. The myth has been debunked, dismissed as impossible, a dark tale born from the fevered imaginations of those looking for thrills. But those who fight fires in the wild will still glance up nervously when the bomber passes overhead, haunted by the thought of what might be lurking unseen in that churning mass of water, a fleeting echo of a nightmare that might just be real.
In the quiet, forgotten corners of graveyards across the United States, there exists a chilling relic of the past. A funerary monument known as the Devil's Chair. This eerie, haunting sculpture, often a stone chair or bench, was carved as a memorial in the 19th century, but its true purpose has always been shrouded in dark mystery. Legend has it that if you sit in the Devil's Chair, you will be visited by a malevolent force. Some say it's the spirit of the person memorialized. Others believe it is something far darker, an embodiment of pure evil, lurking in the shadows. Those foolish enough to sit in the chair claim to feel an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the very air around them thickens, suffocating them with terror. Others have reported seeing dark figures lurking nearby, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light, or hearing whispers from the chair, voices that seem to speak of curses, of death. But the most terrifying claim is that if you sit in the chair long enough, you may never leave. Some say those who sit too long vanish, their bodies never found, as if claimed by the spirit of the chair itself. The Devil's Chair remains a haunting reminder that some places, some objects hold a power so dark and dangerous they should never be touched, not by the living, not by anyone. to Hell is one of the most chilling urban legends in America, a place where the veil between the living and the damned is said to grow thin. Located in the desolate Stull Cemetery in Kansas, the story tells of an ancient, crumbling church that once stood at the edge of the cemetery until it mysteriously collapsed. But even after its destruction, the legend remained, for beneath the rubble was a set of stairs leading into an abyss that was never meant to be uncovered. On Halloween night and during the spring equinox, it is said that the stairs, cloaked in darkness, become a gateway to the other side. Those brave or foolish enough to descend are said to hear whispers from beyond the grave, as if something or someone is calling from the depths of hell itself. The air grows thick, suffocating with an unnatural chill, as if the very ground beneath your feet is pulsing with dark energy. Locals speak of shadows that move on their own, fleeting glimpses of figures watching from the tree line, and an overwhelming sense of dread that grips anyone who dares approach. They say the devil himself walks the grounds of Stull Cemetery, waiting for the next soul to step into the gateway to hell, never to return. And on those cursed nights, the gates are wide open, inviting the lost into the eternal dark. On the dark, mist-shrouded waters of the Platte River, there drifts a ship that should not exist, a ghostly vessel known as the Death Ship. First sighted in the mid-1800s, this eerie apparition has haunted the stretch between Alcova and Torrington, Wyoming, ever since. The ship, unnaturally gray and spectral, glides silently across the river's surface, its sails billowing in the windless air, as though propelled by something far more sinister than the breeze. But it's the crew that truly chills the soul. The sailors aboard the Death Ship are no men at all. They are phantoms, pale, hollow-eyed figures who stand motionless on deck, their faces twisted in eternal suffering. They move with an unnatural jerking motion, as though bound by some cruel force that will never allow them peace. No one has ever heard them speak, nor or seen them react to the world around them. They simply drift, forever trapped on their cursed vessel. Locals speak of the ship's appearance as a death omen. Those who have witnessed it often report a sense of overwhelming dread, as if the ship is drawing them closer to the grave. Some claim that if you stare too long at the ghostly ship, it will come for you, its crew reaching out, cold hands grasping for your soul. Many who have ventured near the river never return, their fates lost to the death ship's eternal voyage. Once you see it, you may never leave the river alive.
In the heart of Iowa City's Oakland Cemetery stands a figure cloaked in darkness and mystery, the Black Angel, a towering bronze statue that looms over the grave of Teresa Feldbert. Erected in mourning, the angel's darkened form and unsettling gaze quickly became the source of fearful whispers. Legend says she is cursed, a silent harbinger of death, watching and waiting for those who dare to defy her silent warning. By day, the statue is imposing, her massive wings stretching wide, casting shadows over the graves below. But as night falls, her presence shifts from solemn to sinister. Those who have dared to visit her after dark claim to feel an intense, bone-chilling cold radiate from the statue, as if death itself were reaching out. They say that anyone who dares touch the angel at midnight will suffer misfortune, illness, or worse, death within days. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow faintly, an unnatural, haunting light that pierces through the fog, as if the angel herself is peering into the souls of those nearby. A few witnesses swear that her wings have moved, rustling slightly, and her hands seem to reach out, fingers stiff yet desperate, as if she longs to pull the living into her cold, stone embrace. Teenagers once dared to kiss the feet of the angel, testing her rumoured curse, but tragedy followed. Accidents, inexplicable illnesses, and even untimely deaths plagued those who tried to defy her legend. Her presence, they say, is more than mere stone. It is a shadow of sorrow and vengeance, eternally bound to the cemetery. Today, locals avoid the Black Angel at night, believing she still harbours a dark power, and if you stand before her, feeling her hollow gaze settle upon you, remember, her curse awaits anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge her. In the dense, mist-laden forests of North America, an unsettling figure roams, Bigfoot, or as the natives call him, Sasquatch. Towering at nearly 8 feet tall, this monstrous ape-like creature lurks in the shadows, a spectre of nature's wildest secrets. For centuries, stories of his terrifying encounters have spread, each scene, a heavy, brooding shadow in the night, stalking, watching, waiting. Those unlucky enough to catch a glimpse report a creature cloaked in thick, matted fur, eyes glinting with a primal intelligence, yet filled with an unsettling, almost human understanding. His hulking frame moves with unnerving agility, slipping between trees like a ghost, his piercing gaze locking with his prey before vanishing into the underbrush. As he disappears, a foul, musky odour lingers, a reminder that Bigfoot was there, a silent warning for anyone daring enough to tread deeper. Some say he's a guardian of the wilderness, others a harbinger of doom, but all agree Bigfoot is no myth, and in the dark heart of the forest he waits, forever watching, his silent footfalls a deadly promise to those who venture too close to the wild. In the depths of the Nevada desert lies a place that hums with secrecy and dread, a location known to most as Area 51. Officially, it is just a section of the Nevada Test and Training Range, but the whispers tell a different story. Beneath the scorching sun by day and the bone-chilling cold by night, something far more sinister is said to lurk behind the barbed wire, guarded by armed soldiers and watchful eyes. Those who dare to venture too close to the perimeter speak of strange encounters, lights that flash in the dead of night, darting across the sky at impossible speeds, a low, rhythmic humming that seems to vibrate from deep underground, unsettling, unnatural. It's not uncommon to spot black SUVs patrolling the empty roads, their windows tinted dark, their occupants unseen. They watch, they follow, ensuring no one gets too close, ensuring the secrets stay buried. The rumors claim that deep within Area 51 are hidden the wreckage of something not from this earth. A twisted metal craft, battered and ancient, locked away beneath layers of concrete and steel. There are tales of bodies too, fragile, gray-skinned figures with elongated limbs and eyes that seem to stare beyond death, forever frozen in cold, clinical chambers. The scientists there, it is said, are not merely studying them, they are experimenting, trying to unlock the secrets of the cosmos, bending natural laws that should never be disturbed. And then there are the voices. Late at night, when the desert winds are still, some claim to hear them, soft, echoing murmurs coming from beneath the ground. They sound almost human, but there's something off about them, an edge that hints at a language not of this world, a plea or perhaps a warning. The government insists Area 51 is nothing but a military installation, a test ground for advanced aircraft. But those who have seen the strange lights, who have felt the ground vibrate beneath their feet, know otherwise. They say that Area 51 is not just a base, it's a threshold, a point where our world meets something else, something beyond comprehension. And those who get too close may find themselves staring into the sky, realizing too late that the watchers are staring back, their intentions unknown, patience running thin.
The golem is a terrifying creature born of ancient myth, a hulking, lumbering monster created from the very earth itself, carved from clay or rock. The golem is a grotesque, humanoid being, its eyes empty and devoid of soul, its body an unfinished mockery of life. According to the legend, it was brought to life by a powerful sorcerer, an attempt to create a protector from the lifeless material. But the golem's immense power and lack of true intelligence led to something far darker. Though clumsy and slow, the golem is a force to be reckoned with, crushing anything in its path with sheer, brute strength. The term golem in modern Hebrew translates to cocoon, an empty, inert vessel, but it can also mean fool, a fitting title for a creature of such monstrous proportions, but limited mind. It has no understanding of the world around it, and with each command it follows, it becomes more dangerous, more erratic. In the shadows of the legend, the golem's uncontrollable rage grows. Its purpose, twisted by the very nature of its creation, its slow, lumbering movements turn violent, its heavy feet causing tremors in the earth as it seeks to fulfill its tasks at any cost. Those who have crossed its path tell stories of its relentless pursuit, of a being without mercy, bound only to the will of its creator. But the true horror lies in what happens when the golem's creator is no longer around to control it. The golem becomes a mindless monster, roaming the earth in search of a new master, its rage unstoppable. The Fresno night crawlers are a grotesque and unsettling simplicity. They resemble nothing more than a pair of white, tattered pants, walking on their own, with no body, no face, just long, dangling legs that bend and sway with a chilling fluidity. Locals who have ventured into the area where the creatures were spotted report a pervasive, suffocating sense of dread. Some say they feel watched, as though the night crawlers are always just out of sight, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves again. The sighting of these bizarre beings seems to be a harbinger of something far more sinister, something that cannot be explained by logic or science. Is it an ancient, unseen creature, a twisted interdimensional being, or something more malevolent, biding its time in the dark corners of the world? Whatever the truth, the Fresno night crawlers remain an enigma, a terrifying reminder that some things are best left unexplained. Deep in the shadowy woods near Harper's Crossroads, North Carolina, lies a cursed clearing known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. This forsaken patch of earth is like no other, a circle of barren ground where no tree, no grass, nor even the faintest weed will grow. Locals fear it, and with good reason. It is said that the devil himself walks here, leaving behind a desolate trail where nothing will grow. Night after night, the ground remains eerily still, but the legends tell a different story. Those brave or foolish enough to camp nearby often report strange, unexplainable events, whispered voices that chill the blood, footsteps in the darkness that echo too close for comfort, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Some claim that if you try to sleep in the circle, you'll awaken to find your belongings scattered, your camp destroyed, yet no one will be in sight. A far more terrifying tale is that those who wander too close after dark vanish without a trace, was the devil's footsteps, forever carved into the earth. The tramping ground isn't just a place. Van Death is a terrifying urban legend that has haunted South Korea for nearly a century. The myth claims that sleeping in a closed, windowless room with an electric fan running can lead to a horrifying and sudden death. The chilling idea is that the fan's cold breeze, combined with the still air, will suffocate the person or cause their body temperature to plummet, leading to fatal asphyxiation. Some versions say the fan creates a vacuum, draining the oxygen from the room, leaving the sleeper to suffocate in their own bed. The origins of this grim tale date back to the 1920s and 1930s, a time when South Korea was gripped by superstition and fear. Since then, the legend has persisted, warning people to never sleep with a fan on in a closed room. Even in modern times, the myth holds sway. In 2011, the Korea Herald reported the death of a 59-year-old man found lifeless with a fan pointed directly at him, reinforcing the chilling idea that the fan had taken his life. Though skeptics dismiss the phenomenon as a mere myth, the fear of fan death remains very real to many. To this day, warnings against the practice are printed on many fans sold in South Korea, a constant reminder that some dangers are said to lurk in the seemingly innocent hum of an electric fan.
On the desolate, windswept expanse of Bodmin Moor in Cornwall, a chilling legend stalks the night. The Beast of Bodmin Moor. This spectral creature, resembling a panther or leopard, has haunted the moorland since 1978, leaving a trail of terror and grisly evidence in its wake. It began with whispers of a shadowy figure lurking near the livestock, eyes like embers piercing the darkness. Farmers awoke to a nightmare of mutilated sheep and cattle, their bodies torn apart by something with terrifying strength and unrelenting savagery. The locals spoke of massive, feline-like paw prints left imprinted in the damp earth, too large for any known cat and too menacing to ignore. The Beast of Bodmin Moor, as it became known, moved with eerie silence, slipping through the mist and granite tors like a ghost, stalking unseen yet ever present. Its black coat blended seamlessly with the night, making it nothing more than a flicker of movement in the moonlight. A glimpse, a shiver, then gone. Those unfortunate enough to encounter it described a low, guttural growl echoing through the stillness, a sound that lingered long after the beast had vanished into the shadows. Hunters and cryptid enthusiasts scoured the moor, hoping to glimpse the phantom cat, Some believe the beast of Bodmin Moor is still there, prowling, watching, a creature of legend and nightmare. And on misty nights, when the fog settles thick over the moor, the locals swear they can still hear it. A heavy, predatory silence, waiting just out of sight.
The Dybbuk box is a cursed relic, a wine cabinet that carries with it an unspeakable terror. According to Jewish folklore, it is said to be inhabited by a Dybbuk, a malicious spirit that has escaped from the depths of the afterlife, seeking vengeance and possessing the living. The box itself is ordinary in appearance, a simple, weathered wine cabinet, yet within its darkened, splintered wood lies an ancient malevolence so potent it drives anyone who dares to own it to the brink of madness. The legend begins in 2001 when the box was sold at an estate sale. The woman who purchased it quickly discovered its horrifying nature. Night after night, she was plagued by nightmares, her body racked with mysterious bruises. Strange, shadowy figures lurked in her peripheral vision, and eerie whispers filled the silence of her home. The box, it seemed, was never empty. Each time she opened it, the air grew colder, darker, alive with the presence of something sinister. Those who have come into contact with the box are not spared from its wrath. Owners have suffered violent fits of rage, debilitating illness, and even death. The box, it seems, demands its pound of flesh. Those foolish enough to keep it have reported feeling a suffocating weight on their souls. The overwhelming presence of the Dybbuk growing stronger with every passing day. The Dybbuk box is no mere artifact. It is a prison